Bring me some research.
It smokes, it drinks, it philosophizes.
Just let me suck, please. Just a little suck on each one.
My mouth bleeding, Bart! My mouth bleeding!
Shall we talk now or wait?
Boom.
Oh, we got to get this shit going. My free AOL disc runs out in 70 minutes. I gotta download some pictures of Vanessa Hudgens. Put them on floppy disk.
Vanessa Hudgens. Oh my God. Zac Efron's ex-girlfriend.
I don't even know who the fuck that is. I just remember her being famous back when they had free AOL discs.
I only know because we wrote that fucking movie for Zac Efron and researching him, found out they used a date. It's hard out, motherfuckers.
Hard
It's
out.
been a minute.
Yeah, it has.
Chris
Yeah, it has.
is day jobbing it. I'm back with none other than Cactus Jack himself, R. Michael Gull. Speaking of Cactus Jack, remember on this show, it's a ticking time bomb. At the hour mark, it dies, no matter if a guest is in mid-sentence or whatever. So you got to get your plugs in early. October 4th, Cactus Jack, the movie, finally fucking drops.
Yeah.
7 years in the making.
Fuck yes. Fuck yes. Blu-ray, streaming.
Streaming on Vudu, locked, still waiting on others. Amazon's got the pre-order. Deep Discount has it for like 25% less right now, but you got to pay shipping. But if you get $25 worth of shit, shipping is free.
I saw last night, I Googled Cactus Jack Blu-ray just to see if the distributor was like doing their job and getting word out. And it's in a shitload of places. Yeah, a lot of these horror websites are picked up the press release and are pushing it. And it goes directly to a click thing to a link where you can buy it right there. It's awesome.
So all you got to do is Google Cactus Jack October 4th or even Blu-ray. But we do have some PR guys who are going to be sending us a little media tour. So the distributor, you know, they play a numbers game. It's volume for them. They're just going to try and throw it out there with all the other titles they got going. These PR guys we got are going to be focused on us, trying to get us, you know, out there on podcasts, etc. But in the meantime, as always, this episode, like every episode, is brought to you by Cactus Jack.
Bringing you hate since 2015.
Yeah, pre-Trump administration for all you assholes who are like, this is what a stupid liberal thinks of Trump supporters. Like, the Trump supporters per se didn't even exist when we started making this.
Yeah, I love that. I love when like the far right, you know, the Q people and shit, when all the 1-star reviews after we did the premiere from those guys,
or after they pirated it.
Yeah, feeling all singled out and shit. And what's funny about that is like, it's about a guy who's just broken and filled with hate, who happens to also attach his thought process to that same shit. You didn't see child molesters getting all up in arms because of Freddy Krueger.
Right.
He wasn't speaking for all child molesters, just the one.
Yeah,
Come on,
very weird.
Settle down, guys.
It's very narcissistic to think this movie's about you.
Yeah.
People do that all the time, though. Both sides of the stupid-ass binary political spectrum.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fuck everyone. True. It's maddening. I can't stand it.
Fuck
I signed up for Andrew Yang's forward party.
I love how you always throw a saddle on the horse with the most broken back.
Hey, they're
who
going to be
has
in the ballot in
chance?
15 states, and by 2023, 30 states. Republicans are joining it.
Who has no chance of winning? I'm jumping on that guy's back.
Hey, man.
It's got
considering the
wheels.
Choices. You blame me? It's either that or just not bother voting.
I prefer not to participate. Yeah, Russell Brand's got it right. Fuck it.
Yeah, he probably does. But the main thing the forward party is pushing for is ranked choice voting to start with. If we can get that, that would be a huge win. Just for
Explain
the country
that to me. What is that?
Ranked choice voting is where you don't just put down, this is my guy. You put down, this is my guy. This is my next choice. This is my third choice. and it's all scaled, you know what I mean? Or weighted. Your second choice gets so much weight, first choice, and then it works out that way. So
then we would have after major elections, we would then have guys who spent the rest of their life saying, I came in number 3 in the 2024 fucking presidential election.
Well, no, they came in number 3 on your ballot, but they came in first overall.
Right, but would they then, when they're tabulating it, they'd be like, okay, the winner is Donald fucking Trump, and second place was this guy, and third place was this guy. Would we know about it?
I think probably, yeah. And I think transparency is part of the name of the game. But secondly, the presidential election, everyone focuses on that, but this is more about down ballot shit where motherfuckers run unopposed in these districts where they're locked up for Republicans or Democrats. So people don't even bother running because they know they're not going to win.
So the elections where your vote actually counts.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Yeah. All right. That makes sense. So, yeah. Because presidential election.
And the other thing they're pushing for is open primaries, because that shit's stupid too. How independents can't vote in a primary. So you don't really get a true gauge of who the preferred candidate is.
Yeah.
And then 60% of the fucking country doesn't subscribe to either one of these parties, yet they're always handed candidates by these two parties, and that's what we get to choose. So anyway, not to get all super political on this shit. We do have the wheel of random topics. If we run out of shit to say, then we just give it a spin and talk about whatever random shit there is. Feel free to email us, hit us up on social media or whatever, and throw topics at us. I just asked for a couple to fill out the last remaining spots. And somebody said we should talk about the LA Sheriff's Department gangs. Are you aware of this thing? There's like actual gangs of cops. Like, I'm going to do more research on it. I am a little familiar with it, but that's something I'm going to save for next episode or whatever, because it runs deep, dude. And there's a lot of history and
gangs of cops.
Gangs of cops, dude. Yes.
Wow.
And my sister Sarah threw out Victorian era plumbing as a subject to talk about.
I'm a big fan of that. You know, I mean, that played a big part in my family tree, because I don't know if you know this, but a very a great uncle of mine was one of the suspects in the Jack the Ripper murders, and I'm sure he had to dispose of through plumbing like a bloody T-shirt every once in a while and things like that. And Ancestry DNA does not tell me how he fucking accomplished that. So I would love to deep dive that shit.
Deep dive into a privy. Man, I remember when I was in Europe touring those castles and shit, just, oh my God. That's the kind of thing we totally take for granted, where everyone's going around bitching and complaining all day. Like, dude, you could take a shit and flush it.
Yeah.
Is life that bad?
Yeah, you think you had a bad day? Go to 1881 and take a shit.
Yeah, or go to Zimbabwe right now and you gotta dig a hole and shit in it. And
yeah,
it's insane, man. We're so ungrateful, myself included. It's nice to have these reminders, you know, but it's so easy to go through life just bitching and moaning about everything.
It's so old. It is so old. People feel the need to share their opinion about every fucking thing. Nobody cares. Nobody cares what we think.
Yeah, that's why we had stopped podcasting for a minute, partly. But it's more like, this is just fun to me at this point. I don't give a fuck. And I was doing this one Buzzkill, which is essentially ripped off this premise of the buzzer at the hour mark with this dude Ryan, and I don't know, that went weird sideways for some reason. I don't want to get into all the weirdness of how it expired, but that one was like a movie book report. I'm done. I don't want to just talk about movies. Fuck movies. That's just boring as hell. Doing a book report about it, beat by beat, talking about it. I just want to converse about weird random shit like we got on the board up here. Should I spin it, or?
I think you should spin it.
All right, let's see what we got.
Spin it.
So your dog looks like Hitler. Tell me about this.
My dog looks like Hitler. She does.
We're gonna have to put a picture up here. So
yeah, I have a great side-by-side comparison where they're in exactly the same pose.
Of course, the Cactus Jack guys, and the first thing we spin is a fucking Hitler.
She's the coolest dog. She doesn't care for Jewish people, but she's otherwise really a good dog. Hates the gays too, but whatever. That's what dogs do.
Yeah.
But her marking, she's white with spot, like kind of patches of different colors and browns and shit.
Mm-hmm.
But on like this part of her, there's a color marking that goes like this, that's brown, and then her ears are also brown. So when it's like, it looks even like Hitler's hair. And she's got just black in the toothbrush fucking mustache thing. And the kids at work call her A Dog Barkler. And she'll wait for me to walk past her, and then she will attack me from behind and go up and punch me directly and precisely in both kidneys. This dog, the dog's nuts. She's crazy. Today actually is she was a rescue. It's our gotcha day with her. We've had her a year.
Interesting. How old was she when you got her?
About 3 months. She was being fostered. Got her.
Was she housebroken already?
No, she was not. She was really, really difficult and really challenging. And we sent her to like a training thing. Really cool guy here locally in Milwaukee, and kind of pricey, but gave her sort of the fundamentals, and then
shock therapy.
yeah, there was a lot of nipple clamps and things, and but we don't conduct ourselves like we're not looking for a police dog or
right.
a guard dog, so the dog gets loved on a lot, so it doesn't fucking listen at all, just does as she pleases and then gets rewarded for it, which is awesome. That's fuck it, who cares? Speaking
of Hitler, you ever seen that show Hunting Hitler?
I haven't. I was told about it and I was going to check it out. Did they ever fucking find? Well,
I'm watching it for the second time because I told my wife like years ago, like, you got to watch this shit. It's fucking awesome. And of course she doesn't listen to me. So some coworker of hers like 2 months ago was like, this show's awesome. So of course you got to listen to the coworker and watch it now. But it's fucking compelling, dude. Of course it's a reality show. And of course there's conspiracy in it. And these guys have some confirmation bias they're chasing. But there's some irrefutable shit in it. Like the dudes on this show found a secret tunnel from the Fuhrer bunker to the airport. Like, it's insane. All indications appear that Hitler escaped Germany the day before he supposedly died, flew to Denmark, flew to Nova Scotia, took a fucking seaplane down the Atlantic, stopping to be refueled by U-boats. There were like 40 U-boats that were still unaccounted for after the war, and landed in South America. And it was in this safe house in Misiones, Argentina, it appears. And it gets so crazy. By the third season, they found like this heavy water plant. There was one in Scandinavia and one in Argentina, where that's where you make nukes using heavy water, etc. So essentially, like, it looked like they were trying to rebuild the Fourth Reich and blow up the Panama Canal in New York City.
Jesus Christ.
And no one has any idea, like the Hitler trail kind of just dissipates. They don't know if he died or just because he was sick. But like one of the safe houses had the specific kind of stomach ailment medications that he was on and shit in it. Like, it's super compelling, dude. You got to watch it. It's fucking crazy. Wow.
Where can I find it?
I think it was a History Channel show, but I just use like we have like the AT&T Direct TV. I just use the on-demand shit, punched it in, it shows up.
Nice.
Marked it, but
I'll check it out. Don't spoil it for me. Don't tell me if they found.
I kind of already did, but
yeah,
I don't know what else. Should we spin it again? What do we
spin it?
So much
spin it. Keep spinning that fucker.
I remember this thing used to be weighted wrong, so it keep landing on the same shit. Hopefully, Victorian plumbing
covered that.
Hitler. It's gonna keep happening. Willis T. That's the third. I left that on the board from fucking 2 years ago. Because Holy Clowns, I don't know if the Holy Clowns episodes that we did are even findable on the internet anymore. But you want to tell people who Willis T. Yates the third is?
This fucking guy. Once upon a time, I was, this is after the Partridge Family ended and everything, and I had to get back to a normal life. I went to high school.
For those who don't know, and you won't see it on IMDb because he's been blacklisted, but R. Michael Gull was the lost member of the Partridge Family.
Yeah. Corey Feldman thinks he's got Hollywood scandal, juicy stuff. Fuck that. They completely erased every trace of me being on that show. They made me paint the bus by myself. They made me play all the instruments in the studio. No credit, nothing. I had to brush David Cassidy's hair for like 20 minutes a fucking day. Susan Day would walk past me and like scratch me really hard and then deny it when I would tell on her. Fuck that bitch. Yeah, fuck her. If I ever run into her, she better be wearing a fucking cup. I'll tell you that much.
Could knock the daylights out of Susan Day.
That's right. Susan Knight, bitch. So I was in high school and I was on the wrestling team when I was a freshman.
Respect.
Yeah.
5-pound weight class. What were you in?
I was in the 120.
All right.
I was
so the
5
same weight you
feet
were when
tall.
you played Cactus Jack.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. I was 5 feet tall and weighed 120. And Willis T. Yates III had one arm.
One
and
arm.
the other arm was this horrifying from, because it was 1979. So it was like this hook that did this and you could lock it to like pick shit up. And it was just kind of attached through a series of pulleys and
right.
fucking things. And
Hudson Hawk looking Da Vinci shit.
Yeah. Yeah, he had like a steampunk arm sticking out before steampunk was cool and shit. And he was in some way affiliated with the wrestling team. I don't remember if he was like that seems like it would be unfair in a high school wrestling match to have one guy with like
maybe he's the equipment manager picking through the jock straps with his little hook.
And he was like a senior when I was a freshman. And he used to they would haze. You were allowed to put your hands on people back then, and bullying was like actual physical bullying. It wasn't. And then he typed something mean about me online, and then I killed myself.
My feelings will never be the same.
That's not fucking bullying. That is not fucking bullying.
Right.
This was bullying. And this guy would have 2 other guys hold me down lay me on my back.
I just love that he had minions. He's like some fucking mastermind with an arm.
Yeah. Probably moved to fucking Argentina through a tunnel or some shit.
Looking like Tote from Indiana Jones and shit.
He would have people hold me down. And so I couldn't move my arm. And then he would take his fucking death thing and he would put it on my nipple.
Oh, clamp.
And he would clamp it. And then he would take it off and it'd be hanging off the fucking nipple.
God.
Yeah, it was horrifying. My left nipple, I actually have to wear a shoulder holster and I keep my left nipple kind of tucked in it because it's this long now. It's fucking, yeah. And this guy.
Show me your nipple, dude. I want to see this nipple right now. Oh, Billy.
Yeah.
Fucking Midnight Express over here.
It's a Miami Vice t-shirt, Crockett and Tubbs.
Bitchin'.
Fuck yeah. There was no terrorism when Crockett and Tubbs were fucking patrolling, by the way. Nobody was flying shit into shit. There were no fucking, they kept us safe. So Willis T. Yates
beheading each other with chainsaws and bathtubs and hotels and shit. Yeah.
But that doesn't affect me.
Yeah.
That doesn't affect me.
It's mostly Cuban on Cuban crime.
Yeah, that's in Florida. And that's not even a real place.
No.
So Willis T. Yates III, I was telling the kids at work about my childhood trauma.
And tormenting you. Yeah.
Yeah. And I described and said, it's a unique name, sort of,
Well, before you make this reveal, was there any resolution with him back in the day? Or did you just like graduated and never saw him again? But
he graduated.
You never got him in trouble or nothing?
No. I quietly was the victim of repeated violent crime, essentially. And if that happened now, his
Oh my
life,
God.
he'd be in prison.
Yeah. Well, he is disabled, so it might be ableist to prosecute him for his crime.
Yeah. So I was telling Joe, one of the kids that works for me, that about this, and he found him
Like the next day or something, right?
accidentally.
Right.
Like he walked into I'm not going to say the name of the company because I don't want my legions of fans going out and avenging my assault.
Well, now once Cactus Jack is out there, the kind of fans you might have.
Yeah. But Joe went someplace.
Is this not like almost evidence that we are living in a simulation? Because the absurd fucking serendipity of you telling Joe about this shit, and the next day that guy going into this place and seeing this fucking guy, and imagine him when he's like, oh my God, a one-armed guy. Fucking crazy. Wait, it's the kind of place where the people who work there wear name tags. What the fuck's his name tag say?
Yep.
Willis T. Yates the third, right there on the bed. Willis T. Yates the third.
So Joe, real discreetly, he was buying Spotted Cow, a 6-pack of Spotted Cow bottles, because Joe drinks beer a lot. And so he texted me a couple of pictures that he took real discreetly on his phone. He was holding his phone all weird, and got pictures of him. He was his cashier, and
So
I've been trying ever since to get someone who works for me to go and get me the prosthetic.
And you do have some pretty loyal subjects at this place that you work at.
He does not deserve that arm. He used that arm for evil. Yeah, Joe's still there.
How's he doing? Actually,
he's good.
He's a funny dude.
He's good. He actually went to school for like TV production. So he works in the booth at a local TV news station.
That's cool.
Yeah, and he still works for me like 5 days a month.
When he was on Holy Clowns and this whole thing was discussed before, we hatched various plots for revenge. And if I remember correctly, we had settled upon the idea of getting that motherfucker's arm one way or another. And it would be hilarious to hang it up like in your studio. You got to build your studio out, dude. Got some serial killer looking shit back there.
This is the family room. This is where I come and watch TV late at night. My downstairs room.
And hut shit and all that. That's
all downstairs. And I still haven't fixed it up. And now I own too many guitars.
Never.
To keep them in my bedroom. I've got right now 9 guitars in my bedroom.
It's fucking compulsive. I love it.
And I've got 4 more at work.
Let's take Willis T. Yates the third's arm and make a fucking guitar out of it.
You know, when you read a story or hear a story about something that happened in history when everything kind of changed, and there's that
catastrophe moment,
when it all locks in. That was it.
That's what I did.
That was it. This is origin story level shit.
Yeah,
this is good. Yeah.
So
I want it.
Yes,
I want it bad.
You gotta get it.
And you're right. It would make an excellent. I'll take this guitar.
How can we? That is
I will replace.
Beautiful. What is that?
That is a 1968
oh my God.
Aria Diamond, and it's fucking
BB King shit.
Yeah, at double semi-hollow, double cut F holes. Carrie bought this. Carrie surprised me with this one day.
You had me at double F holes.
That was my stripper name.
When you worked at Arts Performing Center. Best strip club name ever. Shout out to Arts Performing Center.
Fuck yeah.
These old people pre-MapQuest and shit, looking on maps, trying to show up to some show at the Performing Arts Center, walking to this seedy ass strip club, Arts.
This isn't
Stripper's
the
got bullet
Nutcracker.
scars and shit. Yes. This isn't
Oh
the
my
Nutcracker. Well,
God.
that move could be called the Nutcracker.
Exactly. Oh my God. I did stand up in a strip club a couple of times.
How's that go?
At Heartbreakers out in West Dallas. Well, what's cool, what was really cool about it was that when stand-up kind of started, there weren't comedy clubs.
Right.
And like Lenny Bruce
Yeah.
started in strip clubs. He was the in-between the dancers guy,
Yeah, that's awesome.
MC guy who would do material between the dancers. And so it felt like original and old. And
dude, you
know.
should do a comedy night that's like that, that's like themed that era where people have to dress vintage, no cell phones, you can smoke inside.
Early 60s.
Yes.
Comic is wearing a suit with a thin tie and shit.
No fake tits. Just
Nice.
old school. Verisimilitude. That would be fun. Willis T. That's the third. What's the most legal way we could get his arm? How can we get it without committing a crime? Purchase it from him, but what fun is that? You could upgrade his arm and take that one, but I want to know, does he have the vintage arm still? Because whatever he's rocking now, when Joe saw him, I'm sure isn't the arm.
Probably not.
But
Probably
does he
not.
still have that motherfucker in some closet? Can we just break in his house, find it without harming him? Like he might be a hoarder, and we're helping him out by taking the arm.
When I fantasize about this while I'm masturbating, which is often, what I always have in the
Pulling
fantasy.
a taffy nipple out while you jerk off. Which is longer, your dick or your nipple? Which is
nipple.
Okay.
What I always fantasize about is he is forcing him to hand it to me.
Yes.
Give it to
Dude,
me.
find the two thugs that he had that held you down. Find them, get them to help you. Because first you can guilt trip them. They might have guilt over it anyway.
60-year-old guys who peaked in high school. Yeah.
Yes. Exactly. Dude, I'm gonna write a movie of this shit. They have
Start hanging out at
tasers and roofies.
I'll start hanging out at those 7 a.m. bars in Cudahy. I'm sure I'll run into them.
The third shift workers and the old men. I fucking love that shit. I used to rock those places when I lived in that frat house on the east side.
Yeah, those places are fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's the Willis T. That's the third story. And it's why I am the way I am now.
That and your mom.
Yeah, that and my mom. She also used to pull my nipples, which was awkward. But yeah.
It's like, wait, I thought you were supposed to be breastfeeding me. What's going on here? Your mom's always sucking your nipples.
Jesus Christ.
We're back, motherfuckers. No more book reports. I'm spinning the wheel.
Spin that fucker.
So you're having a midlife crisis, huh?
I am having a midlife crisis. I am. And it's the guitars. Like it's at least not like.
Aren't you a little old for a midlife? Is this like a 2/3 kind of
midlife crisis? Doesn't. I mean, if I was really going to have a midlife crisis, it would have happened. You know, being honest and how I feel and how I treat my body, I would have been 30.
Yeah.
When I had a midlife crisis,
right.
But when I'm middle-aged, not even middle-aged, I'm a senior.
You're having an
citizen.
existential crisis, though.
Yeah. It hit me not too long ago that I'm actually a senior citizen.
How old are you exactly?
I'm 56. I'll be 57 in December.
Isn't 55 usually 55. For like getting
5.
Yeah.
That's what all the menus say. I can get
like
3
years
refills of
shit.
coffee at McDonald's.
That's
I can
amazing.
order off the back page. I can get a breaded veal cutlet, mashed potatoes, and green beans any fucking place I want.
You know, when you
no
made
one
it
else
life,
can.
when you get carded trying to use the senior discount, that's when you're doing all right.
Sadly,
Like they don't believe you're
card
that
me.
old.
Oh, they believe it. They
I wonder
believe
if you wore a hairpiece if they'd card you.
Yeah. So midlife.
Have you ever worn a toupee?
I jokingly had one that I found in a thrift store.
A thrift store toupee. Fuck
Oh
yeah.
my God, it was awful. And I
Dude,
used
we
to
gotta
wear
get
it.
you. I want you to do an episode with a shitty toupee. It would be hilarious.
I would love to wear hair in a movie. I really
Yeah,
would. Not jokingly, but like have it be good, you know?
Well, that thing I was
miss it.
talking to you about that covers like 30 years, we could start you with hair, and by the end of it.
Yeah. I miss it. I miss hair so bad.
Yeah, you had some bitchin' hair, dude.
I
You were
did.
like rock dude, Sunset Strip hair almost.
Fuck yeah.
Well,
Hey,
you weren't
I
the
was-
hairspray type, were
I
you?
was fucking, oh, are you kidding me?
Aqua netting.
Mousse, gel, hairspray, sun-in, perms.
Oh my God.
I was all
pumping
over
out
it.
Chlorofluorocarbons. There's like a
Yeah.
hole in the ozone layer over you everywhere you go.
Yeah. Yeah. I am why people get skin cancer now.
You're welcome, Australia, for that and testing nukes out in the fucking KwaZulu Atoll.
So the midlife crisis.
Yeah.
A few years ago, I bought an electric. We have this. My day job is I run an escape room in downtown Milwaukee. For those of you who don't know, and we have 4 different rooms there. They have different themes. One of them is the 1980s. It's a 1980s rec
The
room.
nostalgia had to be just on your back every day.
Fucking awesome. I got Billy Squire's shoes hanging on the wall. For those of you who know the story.
They used to be in the podcast set here, and I missed them. God
Yeah.
damn it.
They're now up on the wall in the 80s. Or
No one knows the Billy Squire story because you made me fucking cut it out of our old podcast. He
That's
was
probably for the best.
on the wheel. I almost left him on the wheel, but I didn't want to do that to you.
So I wanted to go and get like an electric guitar and hang it from the wall too, like a metal looking 80s guitar. So I went to Music Go Round in Greenfield, fine establishment, and I bought like a $60 fucking electric guitar and hung it on the wall. And then I decided, well, maybe we should have 2 so I could fuck around with one. So I bought another one, hung it on the wall, took the other one down and just started
You just
fucking with
noodle
it all
on
the
it at
time.
work.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
fucking dope.
I mean, I
Over the PA and shit.
no,
That would be rad.
no.
Just stay plugged in, man.
No, but I had played a little
I love it.
guitar back 1,000 years ago and stuff, and I took lessons when I was a kid. And, you know, I wanted to be Robin Zander from Cheap Trick. I didn't want to be like a lead guitar solo.
For those who
guy,
don't know, our Michael Gull is a multi-talented motherfucker.
but, yeah,
And he's not just a guitar player, but an excellent songwriter, which is the reason Lady Gaga is on this wheel. So one of these days you might hit that.
yeah. But I always only played just enough guitar to write songs. Like I would work out a melody on it and stuff like that. And I haven't done that for years. Stopped writing songs years ago and stuff. Picked that back up again too, since I got a ton of shit now. And I'm starting to record new stuff and things. But then when the pandemic hit, I kind of got weird and started buying as many cheap guitars as I could. So now my new obsession is I'll go on Facebook Marketplace and I will buy like a $50 beat up old electric, like a Strat copy, cheap Strat copy from the 80s or 90s. And I'll take them all apart. I take them all apart, take everything out, take the pickups out, all the pots, everything. And then I build new ones out of all these different parts. And then I'll send away for like genuine vintage Fender pickups or knobs and stuff like that. So I've got all these guitars.
It's like the classic car guy, but with
Exactly. But it's like if the classic car guy was like, I'm going to buy an old Camaro and an old Trans Am and make one new car that doesn't exist.
It's like us 80s kids who would take the G.I. Joes apart and like reassemble them with different body parts.
Put the head of a Barbie on your G.I. Joe and shit like that. Because you don't know how Joe identifies these days. He could
Don't ask, don't tell him.
Right.
Joe policy.
So at this point now, and then Carrie has encouraged it by gifting me a couple of really awesome guitars. And these are the only 2 guitars that I don't take apart. These are going to remain untouched. My first electric guitar when I was 13 was an old Lotus Les Paul copy. It was jet black.
Nice.
And I was telling her when I was looking for guitars that I wanted to find one just like it. My birthday rolls around.
That thoughtful bitch.
And all of a sudden it wasn't a Lotus, because Lotuses were like really cheap and shitty.
Mm-hmm.
Like get them out of the pennies catalog and shit. But she bought me this amazing 2018 Epiphone Les Paul traditional Pro 3. It looks identical to the guitar that I had.
Fuck yeah.
And then she also gifted me that 335 that I just held up before. A friend of hers was getting rid of it, and I had lusted after it. And I was trying to help the friend. Yeah, the guitar. And I was trying to help the friend kind of determine the value of it. So I was looking them up online. It's like, they're like $900, $1,000 guitars. And she went out to dinner with the friend one night, and when she came home, she said, "Hey, I stopped at the store on the way home. Could you run down to my car and grab it?" And I did. And there's this fucking guitar and an old ass Rickenbacker amp. Just like, because it was a Tuesday, she gave it to me. It's fucking awesome. Yeah. And I have 11 other ones.
People love you, isn't it?
Yeah, it's hard to get used to.
It's like,
and I have 11 other ones.
These gifts and shit.
Out of the guitars out of the 13
well,
that I have.
let me ask you this though: is this not just a fucking dope, awesome hobby? Especially when you talk about the whole reclamation aspect of it. Where's the midlife crisis of it? Is it really an existential thing, or what are you feeling about all this?
It's the obsession of it. Like, it's not just a hobby. Like, I will lose sleep because I'm sitting on my phone going through Facebook Marketplace.
Is it replacing another obsession? Because some people just keep leapfrogging obsession to obsession. So when they hit a phase like this.
Yeah, I haven't had a hobby for a very long time.
Okay,
so it's not replacing anything.
Like cocaine or anything?
Well, I don't do cocaine anymore. But yeah, I don't know. It fills a hole though. And it's fucking, I am never in a room unless I have to be somewhere where it's not possible. But there's always a guitar within a few feet of me.
That's how Chris is too. Chris just lays or sits down, always just noodling on it. It's fucking awesome. And we're just hanging and just got somebody just.
Yeah. Like I'll come in here at night. I'll come in here at night to like binge watch Cobra Kai or The Boys or some shit.
While you watch.
And I've always got usually it's 2 guitars I bring because I don't know what kind of mood I'll be in because they all have different personalities. I name them.
Dude,
they have
let me
names.
throw an idea to you. I'm a concept guy. You make concept albums where like you have 11 guitars or whatever. Like what do you have right now? 9 or 11?
13.
So you have 13 guitars. So this album has 13 songs on it. Each one you play with a different guitar. If you keep getting them up to 26, you have some album with 26 songs on it.
Exactly.
Each guitar has to get a fucking day in the sun.
How much time do we have left? Because I really have to pee.
Probably like 20 minutes or something.
Hold that thought. Talk about something.
I'll pause it. Oh yeah, I can fill it.
I'll be back in less than a minute.
All right. I'm gonna pause it actually because all right, I just paused recording. I was
okay.
Emails and shit.
All right. So I've become obsessed also with the blues, which is just I'm constantly like at the sound system at work has to always be on a BB King station.
Love it. I like these Apple programs and shit now. Same thing Spotify does, whatever, how they send you kind of down a rabbit hole. If you pick something you like, have you discovered any dope ass blues dudes you'd never heard or anything?
A couple. Yeah. I wasn't, I knew Howlin' Wolf existed, but I've been really getting into Howlin' Wolf.
Dope shit.
Yeah. And what's funny is if you leave it on, I think it's Pandora we use or something like that.
Yeah, that kind of shit.
And if you leave it on a blues station, it always ends up going to Led Zeppelin because they stole everything
They did.
from old fucking blues players.
I mean,
it's amazing.
Rock in general comes from that shit, but
no, but literally Led Zeppelin took songs and said they wrote them.
It's fucking crazy.
So I do.
Everyone
I try
should
to
be allowed to
play
use Led Zeppelin shit in movies now. It should just become public domain. Like, fuck you.
Yeah, I dare you to sue me for stealing a Led Zeppelin song. But like I try to learn the solos from like BB King songs. And I'm obsessed now with David Gilmour, the lead guitarist from Pink Floyd.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. The Comfort
Before I
solo.
Die, that song is everything to that song is me.
I have to send you some recordings Chris did of that solo. It's pretty dope.
Yeah. I'm obsessed with learning that solo.
You got to play us in with The Thrill Is Gone or some shit next episode.
I'll work on it. So what I play constantly, the stuff. So I'm writing a lot of new music, and all of it either sounds like old blues or Pink Floyd. Like I'll be sitting there fucking around, and Carrie will walk through the room and go, "That sounds like Pink Floyd."
Nice.
And just keep.
That's a fucking compliment. Pink Floyd's the shit. David Gilmour's top.
My God.
Mount Rushmore guitarist, probably for me.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Do you find
one of the guitars?
Good.
One of the guitars that I built is a copy of his famous black Strat that he played all that stuff on. And I went to see like Roger 9 Waters. Different ones. Oh, how was he?
Wall. It was crazy because we sat like perpendicular. We got tickets late, but we're looking at the profile of the stage essentially, which was crazy because we were seeing, it was like meta, seeing them build the wall on the set as they, and we had a peek backstage basically.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, it was a really cool way to see it actually. But the whole time I'm just like, where's David Gilmour? Why can't you fuckers all just get along?
Yeah.
Come on. It hurts.
I mean,
fans are so full of bitches.
They're one of those situations. Pink Floyd was one of those situations where kind of like Simon and Garfunkel, because Paul Simon was the gifted songwriter in that situation. But Art Garfunkel is the gifted vocalist in that situation.
Garfunkel fucking killed.
And Roger Waters, of course, was writing all those tremendous songs. But just like, I hate Roger Waters' voice. He can't sing. And he plays the bass, and that's okay, whatever. But without David Gilmour,
there's no Pink Floyd, dude.
But without Roger Waters, when David Gilmour kept Pink Floyd going, like into the 80s, and they had that song like Learning to Fly and stuff like that. They did a couple albums. It's
messing with Roger Waters. It's a synergy. You get these groups together. And I was about to say, I wish they could all get together and just stay cool. But I will admit, having collaborated with people creatively and shit, if it's a creative difference, I get it. You want to go do your own thing. If it's a personality difference, you should be able to work that shit out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
and it appears they just
to go
hate
different
each other.
directions creatively. It's like cool,
Yeah. And they just appear to like hate each other. Every time I've ever seen an interview with either one, they have to take a little poke at the other one.
Just kind of cool. It'd be hilarious if they actually love each other and call each other every day. And it's just this public ruse they've been doing for 40 years.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Should I spin?
Spin it.
Yeah. All right. I think we're going to go a little past the buzzer because I paused it, but the timer kept going. Roe v. Wade. Whoa.
Okay.
It's like no one wants to go first. I'll jump if you jump.
I feel like it's really none of anyone's business if a person decides they want to end a pregnancy. It's two people's business, the man and the woman in that situation. And it's only the man's business if it wasn't a rape or Well, incest is rape too. If it wasn't a rape, basically, it's only the man's business then. But even in the case of like a one-night stand, if two people hook up and the woman gets pregnant, she shouldn't really be allowed to terminate that without the input of the man, because it was the input of the man that created that situation in the first place. And government getting involved is just one of the most asinine things I've ever. I mean, the problem I think anyway, the problem with a lot of the laws in this country has always been that it's a Christian nation. So a lot of the laws are based on the 10 fucking commandments, which is the most childish.
Yeah, this whole argument is
thing.
really predicated upon belief in a soul.
Yeah.
Which is fucking pretty nuts. Because if,
That's a person. No, no, dude, that's not how it works. If, and like just my bottom line opinion on when a person starts is, if you could remove that child from that woman, if you could remove that fetus from that woman's body and it could survive on its own without being hooked up to anything, then it's a viable person. Before that, it's not.
just
Batter
devil's
in a
advocating-
bowl isn't
just
the
devil's
cake.
advocating, does that mean, this is what they would ask you if this was a debate, does that mean that premature babies who are born and need to go in an incubator or something aren't viable people?
No,
Right.
that's a health.
That's a trap they're trying to set for you.
Yeah, that's a health situation. That was an unhealthy pregnancy that resulted in a temporarily unhealthy baby. And okay, wait. A lot of times, babies that are born prematurely have lifelong health issues.
Right, but that's
Or
not to
some
say
sort of-
they should be
Or some
terminated.
sort of no, but
That's the eugenics
but-
people worry about,
but they're not done cooking yet, so they're not completely ready.
Right.
Which is why they'll continue to have a deformity or health issues throughout their life. Which I think argues my point. So you go even earlier than that. So a preemie,
Right.
that is always going to be small or always going to be, have a club foot or whatever.
See, this does
whatever's wrong
hedges
with
into
this
like
preemie.
eugenics type arguments though, which is some interesting, tricky shit to get into.
They're obviously a viable person, but what I'm saying is that's evidence that entire gestation period is really fucking necessary before it's a person.
Yeah, and it hedges into, that's the thing, to get back to the foundational issue, because that's like layers deep in this argument, kind of. It boils down to that whole soul thing, when life begins, conception, or at a certain period or trimester or whatever throughout this process. But if we live in this country where we have to take everyone's stupid ass religious opinions into the mix and respectfully allow them to have those opinions, those people truly believe it's a fucking murder of the most defenseless life form there is, a fucking little baby or whatever. If they truly believe that it's murder, the way that the left or people who are pro-choice deal with them is so counterproductive. Like the argument that you just want to control women and all that kind of shit. Let's say you're making bad, disingenuous arguments. Let's focus on them thinking you're murdering babies. Make the point that you're not. Prove how it isn't murdering babies and how life doesn't begin at conception. You know what I mean?
Yeah, screaming back, my body, my choice.
Yeah, wrong.
Just makes you seem like a cunt. It just makes you seem like a cunt. It does. Hey, you're killing somebody. Hey, you know what? I get to. Fuck you.
It's growing in me. I get to kill it. It's a parasite or something. It's so just not taking into account why they have this belief that it's murder. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it sucks because you always like, all right, if you think they're just stupid and you're an atheist and you're a rationalist or whatever, and you think they're full of shit, right? Like myself as well, you still have to meet them where they're at and diffuse that bomb. You can't just meet fire with fire or whatever, you know what I mean? You can't use your own brand of lunacy to counteract theirs. It's crazy.
I like to when I met with that argument with the soul, and they started when Dad came, basically. Yeah. And then, oh God, I'm awake. Good Lord, where am I? Why is it so sticky?
Oh,
yeah.
Face.
I like to point out that their own book in Genesis at the beginning, Adam wasn't a person until God breathed he formed him out of dirt, and then he breathed the breath of life into him. And that is when he started. So he's outside. The first two people, according to this fairy tale, were both made out of
Speaking of incest,
spare parts. They were both made out of spare parts. Well, Eve was made out of spare parts on the outside, and God had to do something to like crank them up. He Dr. Frankenstein their asses, and
God jerked off on them, and
yeah,
they fucking grew from his magic seed.
Yeah, but it's a soul is just, these are adults that believe this.
Absurd. It's frightening. Honestly, it's terrifying.
And they get to drive cars and be in front of me in line at fucking Taco Bell, and
the super church thing of it now, they're like creating these honeycomb mega colonies and shit now. And you seen Jesus Camp, right? That old documentary.
Yeah.
They like made a concerted efforts to fucking infiltrate stages of government. And it's like, oh my God. That's the thing. Have your dumbass beliefs. Believe whatever the fuck you want. But when you're like making these insidious efforts to get a hold of the Supreme Court and fucking control people and make everyone else act to your stupid ass belief system, fuck off.
But in practical reality, being a person who doesn't share that belief system, it's of course really,
it has
really
to be the
irritating.
Default. It has to be the default. We can only agree upon everything that which we all can agree upon.
Right. But if you think about it, the Christians that are just so about this are doing exactly their job as Christians. They're following their religion really well. They're good Christians. They're just shitty neighbors.
Right. Like, here's what sucks. The Westboro Baptist Church are actually like the best Christians. You can make an argument, and that is such a comment on what Christianity is. That it's these cherry pickers who perpetuate these dumbass belief systems because you go to church every Sunday out of tradition and shit, and you don't give a fuck about 7 of the commandments or whatever. You're not really a Christian, so just stop it and stop making it mainstream with your half-ass shit. If you're a Christian and you're not in front of an abortion clinic with a fucking sign yelling at ladies as they go in, you're kind of a bullshit Christian. So just stop.
Yeah.
And if you're not going to go that far, just shut the fuck up, stay home and watch football on Sundays and have a better life.
Exactly. And
to the rest of those loonies, we give them lobotomies. Just kidding. Now, have your dumbass belief. Like I said, believe whatever the fuck you want. It's the same thing, the argument they would use about transgender issues or whatever. You know what I mean? It's like, just stop trying to control each other.
That's not on the wheel, is it?
No, I'll put it on the wheel for some other time. But tread carefully, Cactus Jack.
Yeah.
Should I spin this thing again?
Sure.
Hitler.
Drink piss.
Those midlife crisis again. Get out of here. What's the problem with this thing? We're planning on the same shit. The Queen. Queen Elizabeth.
I, for one, can't wait for Adam Lambert to take over. That's what I'm excited about.
Nice.
The
boy's got some pipes.
Yeah. If you think about her, I was having a conversation with Courtney at work about this, and all the things that this woman witnessed historically
It's insane.
is just, and being in a position of power while those things were going on is just mind blowing to me. Like she was there for all of
It's like Forrest Gumpian, but you're not just this interloper kind of moving through it all. You're like a fucking paragon in that whole system. It's weird. She played like the most epic, weird, psychedelic game of The Sims ever. Her life, just like, what?
The day she died, or the day they announced she died, we don't really know when. She could have died in 1980.
Yeah.
For all we know. They don't tell us shit. But the day they announced she died, one of the people came into work and I was there, and I was like, hey, did you hear the Queen died? And she was like, no. Oh my God, how? She died of being fucking
SIDS.
96.
What the fuck is that? Crib death. What the fuck are you talking about? The umbilical cord is wrapped around her neck, you dummy. She died of being fucking her. She was 107 years old. What was he, 96 technically?
96. How'd she die? How'd she live?
Since life begins at conception, she was probably 97, actually. I have to do the math, but.
There you go. There you go. Exactly.
No,
what are your thoughts on the Queen?
Being a woman through all of this too, though, and a woman world leader, as we've. So I mean, what year was she born? In 96. I mean, women's suffrage was around the time she was born. That movement.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So to go all the way through that, the 50s, the civil rights, the bra burning, the different waves of feminism into this argument where now she lives in England with J.K. Rowling, who's one of the most powerful women on earth because she made up some fucking boring ass ho-hum kid story. Gets called a TERF because she's defending what it is to be a woman or whatever. It's just such a fucking wild ride. Like, when we talk about the Gumpian aspect of it as she traipsed through history, but just the social context of it all is so fucking weird of what she must have lived through, experiencing it as, again, we're like, there's pictures of her with Hitler.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, what? What a fucking existence. So strange. And to contrast that's what's wild about it. Like, when you look at dogs and you're like, they're all pretty kind of close to each other, even though there's these wild differences with breeds or whatever. And humans the same way, the difference between my 600-pound life and fucking Michael Jordan or whatever. And then you contrast her against like just some peasant in Calcutta, some untouchable or something. Like, if we send some fucking box to the aliens, an info box or something, or a time capsule to aliens, and they were to look at human life and existence and everything, she's one of them you'd almost put in there as like the paragons. I don't know, maybe it's just because she's modern in our lifetime. It would have been Henry VIII or something. But again, I think the woman aspect of it is interesting. Like, the first Elizabeth lived in a time where it was pretty static, women's rights, whatever. This other one lived through this whole wild ride of it.
All the changes.
To the point where now you're even defending what does it mean to be a woman. They're talking about it on Fox News and shit. It's so crazy. And the fact that you said the Queen died, did you hear? The Queen, like, she's the world's queen for some reason.
Right.
The Queen. Like the Queen of Malaysia or whatever. Fuck you know.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, she was.
I mean, one of the vestigial monarchies. There aren't too many monarchies left, and monarchy itself is fucking absurd. We talk about religion being a dumb old vestigial idea. Monarchies? Get the fuck out of here.
I still don't even know. I don't even know what her job exactly was.
Dude, I don't.
Like, was she making policy?
Well, all right, we can go a few minutes past this because of this break. I don't know.
Like, are people now? Are people in the UK and in the different places that they, own? Are they worried about Charles' reign? Is he going to change shit? Can he change?
Well, now
shit?
it is just a figurehead, though. When did that point happen where power was pretty much given over to Parliament? I don't remember the year. Was that in her lifetime?
Maybe it was because she was
Yeah, who
a
like
26-year-old
advocated all
girl.
that power? I should know this, I feel like, but fuck then why? It's some other country's history. Like, why should I be super well versed in it?
I mean, when she took the throne, she was a 26-year-old girl.
Just nuts.
That's a baby.
That's so crazy. That's what I'm saying. That's why monarchy is absurd. Obama died in office, so Malia or whatever her fucking name is has to be president now.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Yeah.
You kidding me? That is some ancient, almost ape shit, dude.
Yeah. Yeah. It's pretty fucked up. It's pretty fucked up. And it's a good, it's.
You're alone, right?
Yeah. Is it cool if I start filming now?
No, when we get inside.
Why are you here?
I just thought it was really interesting, that someone hasn't left their basement in 6 months, not even to use the bathroom. Is that true?
Why would I want to go out there? I got everything I need right here. You know how many aliases I've used calling into radio shows?
I've had it up to my goddamn gills with the systematic feminization of this country.
Of course we want you. Get your own damn show if you think you got that much to say.
You live in your mom's basement.
What's so special about my loser son?
You really do hate your own mother.
She's a woman. Why wouldn't I?
There's some disconnect there, and if I can find it, what is hate? Where does it come from? Where does it go? Dude, this guy's it's like pure hate, man.
I want to see something really fucking cool. I want a fucking show. Stop! Oh, yeah. Look at me! Look at me! We're gonna help you show them the light. We're gonna change the world.
This is Cactus Jack coming to you live from a studio audience.
To the man who calls himself Cactus Jack, we have watched as you have rocketed to infamy.
And you wonder why these cornered animals lash out.
And now, we have watched as you have called for literal blood.
I know you're out there listening. It's buzzing in your ears, burrowing into your brain.
Do it, Jack. You're gonna love this. I pulled that trigger off his head.
Your VPN will not shield you. The darknet will not hide you. You and your kind are finished.
You think I'm scared of you?
Come and get me.
Might I be your neighbor?